Moments ago, President Trump posting, quote, on Truth Social, if the corrupt politicians of Minnesota do not obey the law and stop the professional agitators and insurrectionists from attacking the patriots of ICE, who are only trying to do their job, I will institute the Insurrection Act, which many presidents have done before me, and quickly put an end to the travesty that is taking place in that once great state. Former congressman and host of Sunday Night in America, Trey Gowdy, is a former federal prosecutor, and he joins us right now. Trey, good morning to you.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing okay, but I'm looking at these pictures out of Minneapolis, and I'm thinking, man, something is so messed up there. And obviously the president looking at the same things. If he does invoke the Insurrection Act, doesn't that mean that he can send in the National Guard? He is emboldened to do that by law if there's a civil disobedience and occurrence, and that's the definition of it, what I'm looking at right there.
Yeah, it's one of the few exceptions to the posse comitatus where you cannot deploy military forces for domestic use, and it's often done when state authorities either cannot or will not. So think back to the 1960s, southern states said, we refuse to integrate our schools. Presidents used the Insurrection Act to say, you know what, you are going to follow the law. I actually think we may be beyond this point in Minnesota. You actually have governors and mayors who are openly defying federal law enforcement. I mean, they're not like ambiguous or agnostic about it.
No.
They're openly defying it. So I think he's got all the justification. I'm sure he's wanting Minnesota to get in the right hymnal themselves, but they're going the opposite direction.
Did you know the biggest threat of your retirement is not something that's talked about often? Our increased longevity in America means default retirement accounts like the IRAs, the 401ks, and the TSPs may not specific if you have over $100,000 in your retirement account. Get access to a free 2-minute report from Augusta Precious Metals and reveals the one step you can take to secure your financial future. Text SAFE SAFE to 35052 today.
What happened in Minneapolis this week and last night crossed a line that most Americans never thought they would ever see. Federal vehicles were breached, weapons were stolen, radios were taken right out of the vehicles, and deployment lists with agents' names and targets ripped right out of government custody, like it had their full names. We've got the videos of this, guys. Hang with us. But this wasn't a protest. This wasn't protected speech. This was organized obstruction of federal law enforcement in the streets of our American republic. And right now, former federal leadership is saying something serious out loud, that the legal threshold for the Insurrection Act has already been met. Because when mobs seize federal weapons and sensitive documents while state leaders are just looking the other way, the consequences are going to change real quick. FAFO. And it's just crazy. You guys have to see this video. I want you to stay with me because what was stolen matters more than you guys think. My name is Tom. I'm with the Daily Beltway, and I'm also White House correspondent for the Next News Network. And before we get into this, guys, we're a growing channel, and every like, comment, share, and subscription helps us reach more Americans who want facts and not spin. Also, sharing this report matters. It's a mega clip. It's bad.
Almost there.
Oh, wow. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Hey, don't hit them.
For context, they were breaking into ICE vehicles all over the city last night. Like, this was coordinated. They were using trucks to rip the lock boxes out of the back of them. They were stealing guns. They were stealing, there's documents that have the agents' first names and last names, all the targets for the next day or the next week, plus intelligence, radio, secure communications, cell phones. It's insane.
The former acting ICE director. Sir, welcome back here. How does this end?
Thank you.
Or does it anytime soon?
It seems like what President Trump posted today about invoking the Insurrection Act seems to be the way this is going, and that's the way it will end. And just to invoke the Insurrection Act, he just has to make a determination that is impractical to enforce federal law because of the obstructionist activities. And I think that's apparent just by the reporting you just had. And you have people like Tim Walz, the irony of him saying they don't want chaos when he is seemingly doing everything he can to sow chaos, to cause division, to encourage people to subvert ICE in their mission. It's really shameful, but I think we're going down the road of the Insurrection Act because Governor Walz is not going to step up to his responsibility and get his streets safe so ICE can do their job. And remember, ICE is enacting the laws passed by Congress. They're not enforcing them. They are doing something inherently democratic, and Tim Walz and Jacob Frey and others are trying to prevent that. So it seems like only one road to go at this point for President Trump, and I think he's on to this, that we need this to stop, and immigration enforcement is going to continue.
Governor Walz yesterday.
So this wasn't symbolic. It was operational sabotage that they coordinated across the entire city of Minneapolis. According to federal sources, those materials included sensitive law enforcement lists and should never fall into hostile hands, like first names and last names. Once removed, those agents were immediately exposed. In the same clip, guys, sequence, we saw a former acting ICE director, Jonathan Fahey, address what this now triggers legally. Fahey said that the president has clear authority if federal law becomes impossible to enforce due to state interference, which it clearly has. And that authority includes invoking the Insurrection Act, which is something that's pretty scary, guys. But I want you to type protect if agents must be shielded, or block if states should interfere against the federal government. So the context matters. Minnesota leadership has openly encouraged resistance to ICE operations, and that rhetoric coincided with escalating violence, assault on agents, and now theft of federal weapons and intelligence. Federal law is explicit. When state action or inaction prevents enforcement of United States law, the executive branch is not required to stand down. And this is a line that's been crossed, because once weapons and agent lists are stolen, and you've got the governor and you've got the mayor and all these police chiefs sitting here and encouraging these people to do these things, it's clear insurrection. They caused this because it's a direct threat to public safety, and it's insane. And President Trump has to do something about this. I would not want to be the one making those decisions. And if you guys got value from this update, please tap subscribe and share this report. My opinion is next. So this matters because a republic cannot function if federal law only applies when local politicians approve it. Once mobs can steal weapons, radios, and agents' names without any consequences, authority collapses. And this isn't about politics, folks. This is about whether the United States will remain a nation, and even a nation that's governed by a law. When leaders signal resistance, others are acting on it. And that's how unrest turns into organized crime. And that's how agents got targeted. The Insurrection Act exists for moments exactly like this, not to punish speech, but to restore enforceability of law when it's actively obstructed by every single level of government. And every American should want federal agents protected regardless of party. Because once this precedent spreads, no law is safe. And awareness is the first defense, and silent is consent, guys. So share this report, be vocal about it. Support the president, and let's get our nation back. God bless.
This country was built on colossal hands and unshakable gifts. At Sea of Mud Apparel, we stand for the ones who still out there putting in the work. The forgotten man and women who keeps rural America running. Our gear is made patriotic and built to last. Every stitch, every thread, made to handle real life, not runaway life. I'm a fan of this, aren't you? Whether you're working the land, fixing what's broken, and stands for what's right. We got your back. Sea Mud Apparel, Real America Clothing Company. Show your pride. Wear your gifts. Use the code RUMBLE at checkout for 15% off of your order. Visit seamud.com. That's seamud.com and gear up for the ones who still believe in America.
Yeah, that's me.
Host Nick Sawyer attacked by Minneapolis anti-ICE mob, vehicle smash, spray paint, and window busted. I'm just saying.
Nick Sorter says he was surrounded by aggressive protesters after being identified for his political views. The crowd blocked his vehicle, struck the windows, and damaged the car. From inside the vehicle, tensions quickly escalated, forcing him to drive away to get out safely.
Get out of the way! Get out of the way!
Broken, spray painted. You said these people were trying to kill you. Well, if they pulled you out of the truck, I'm not sure they were going to give you a big, French kiss.
Right, exactly, Laura. And as you can see, the windows in the back there that were broken using the frozen water bottles. It's an Antifa tactic, very classic. They pre-position these frozen bottles that are like bricks all over the place so they can use them against people like me and federal agents because they're essentially weapons. You end up getting hit with one of those things straight to the head, you're going to end up with brain damage, and they know that. And so if I didn't drive away right then at that time, they were going to use them against me and my passenger, Cam Higbee, who was another journalist. And I'm glad we did. I thank the Lord that he told me right then to go. I gave them 15 minutes of warning to get out of the way. And I feel like that was more than enough time to, finally disperse out from the front of my vehicle. They had already broken a window. We were on the phone with Minneapolis police, and I was telling them, you gotta get here, because I'm not gonna have a choice. If they try to disable my vehicle or they break a window, I have to go. So you guys need to get here and do something. And of course, they didn't show up. So this is the result.
No, they don't show up.
No, Nick, of course not. They never show up.
Reaction to hearing that the charges against you were going to be dropped, and why do you think the DA decided to do that?
I think it was a smart move because all of the evidence was in my favor. There was no evidence against me at any time. So everybody there has a camera for the most part at these demonstrations or whatever you want to call them in the streets. And all of those videos that came out showed that I was the victim. I was the one that was jumped. I was the one that was thrown into a hole. I was the one that was punched. I didn't punch anybody. I didn't break anybody's camera. My crime was filming in public, filming people that don't believe in First Amendment rights for conservatives, I guess. And that's where this whole thing started. I should never have been arrested. I should never have been put through the ringer. And I shouldn't have the chief of police on TV slandering me during the day. Instead, he should be focused on pulling the rot out of his police department. And maybe this will make him think twice about, the direction that the department is going.
We're back with the Fox News Alert. If you're just getting up, anti-ICE protesters raging in Minneapolis last night after another ICE-involved shooting where an illegal migrant from Venezuela was hit in the leg by a bullet. DHS says an agent was being attacked with a shovel and opened fire in self-defense. Moments ago, President Trump posting, quote, on Truth Social, if the corrupt politicians of Minnesota do not obey the law and stop the professional agitators and insurrectionists from attacking the patriots of ICE, who are only trying to do their job, I will institute the Insurrection Act, which many presidents have done before me, and quickly put an end to the travesty that is taking place in that once great state.
This came in literally about maybe 15 minutes ago, and it says at 6:50 tonight, federal law enforcement officers were conducting a targeted traffic stop in Minneapolis of an illegal alien from Venezuela who was released into custody in 2022. Now, in an attempt to evade arrest, the subject fled the scene in his vehicle and crashed into a parked car. The subject then fled on foot. And the statement goes on to say that the law enforcement officer caught up to the subject on foot, attempted to apprehend him when the subject began to resist and violently assault the officer. While the subject and law enforcement were in a struggle on the ground, two subjects came out of a nearby apartment and also attacked the law enforcement officer with a snow shovel and a broom handle. As the officer was being ambushed and attacked by the two individuals, the statement says, the original suspect got loosed and began striking the officer with a shovel or broomstick. Fearing for his life and safety as he was being ambushed by the three individuals, the officer fired a defensive shot to defend his life. The initial subject was hit in the leg. The statement goes on to say that all three subjects ran back to the apartment and barricaded themselves inside. The attacked officer and subject are both in the hospital. Both attackers are in custody. And again, this is the statement coming in from the Department of Homeland Security within the last 15 minutes here, describing their version of what took place in a Hawthorne neighborhood tonight at about 6:50. Randy?
All right. And those ICE agents remain on the scene, a good number of them, because you have seen in Maury Glover's, where his location is and his camera vantage point, the agents have a perimeter set up. They have also been, and this is this more... Okay, so we've watched those flashbangs and we've seen protesters letting off fireworks. So there is some volatility going on between protesters who've gathered at the scene and the law enforcement presence that was already there after this shooting tonight. And again, multiple rounds of flashbangs, tear gas deployed against the crowd. You can see fireworks now from the aerial shot. The crowd, we've been told, is about 100 to 150 people that have gathered. At times it feels like it's getting bigger. And again, when the crowd is pushed out, Maury said then as soon as the chemical irritants clear the air, they go back up to the perimeter.
If you haven't already, make sure you download the Rumble app. It's free, simple to use, and the best way to stay connected, the content you want. Once you got it, search for my channel, hit follow. That way you get a notification every time we go live. No missing shows, no extra steps. You can grab it right now. Use the link in the description or the pinned live chat. Download it to your phone and you're ready to go. And if you prefer watching on the big screen, Rumble is available in all major streaming devices and smart TVs. Just search for Rumble, follow the channel, and be part of the action.
Has secured our borders and will continue to fight the cartels throughout this country, deport them all, or lock them up for the rest of their lives, thanks to our prosecutors around this country where they belong.
6:34 a.m., Minneapolis, Minnesota. A crime scene still fresh with blood. 24 bodies. A border area turned into a war zone. And a Somali mayor who tried to cover it all up. Tonight, the truth finally breaks. 24 dead. One mayor. Total betrayal. Mayor Farah Abdi Noor, 51, elected on promises of community safety, praised for immigrant advocacy. But when 24 people were gunned down near his district, he didn't call for justice. He made phone calls to bury it. The shooting happened at 2:17 a.m., a warehouse near the border processing area. 24 victims, migrants, workers, witnesses to something they weren't supposed to see. Initial police reports called it gang violence. Case closed in 48 hours. But FBI analysts noticed patterns. Shell casings matched weapons traced to cartel enforcers. Victims had connections to a federal smuggling investigation. And the mayor's phone records showed 14 calls to cartel-linked numbers within hours of the massacre. He wasn't mourning the dead, he was cleaning up loose ends. 6:34 a.m. FBI and ICE moved simultaneously. Mayor's residence, City Hall office, 3 warehouses, 2 cartel safe houses, 147 agents, 11 locations. No warnings, no negotiations. Inside the mayor's home, agents found $2.3 million cash, encrypted phones with cartel contacts, and documents proving he authorized the warehouse location for cartel operations, the same warehouse where 24 people were executed. The victims weren't random. They were witnesses, migrants who saw shipments, workers who asked questions. He ordered them silenced. Faced with evidence, Mayor Noor pleaded guilty. Conspiracy to commit murder, racketeering, obstruction, accessory to 24 counts of homicide. The community leader was the community killer. 24 families waited for answers. Mothers who lost sons, children who lost fathers, all killed because they saw too much. Today they finally know who gave the order. He smiled at community events. He promised protection. He swore oaths to serve. Behind closed doors, he signed death warrants. 24 dead, 1 guilty plea, no more hiding. Like if you believe murderers belong in chains, not in office. Comment guilty if you made it here. Share so the world sees what he did.
Take off your mask!
From a judge!
Out of here, you fat little coward!
From a judge! Un-American pieces of shit!
Cowards! Nazi piece of
This is nuts! This is fucking, yeah, and you're right in the middle of this shit. What the fuck is going on, dude? This is insane.
Have you ever gone out to these sort of things before?
Never. I've never protested in my life. My brother's here. He does it all the time. I've never. Yeah. Like I said, I'm far enough away, but close enough, and I sit in my cushy house and look at shit and get mad, and they're just trying to fucking scare people, and but why shoot people? You know what really pisses me off is the fact that they detain people, cuff them, and then still beat the shit out of them. They tell you it's immigrants, only immigrants. It's fucking anybody. I have friends that got detained, and all they were doing was fucking driving home from work. What the fuck?
Sounds like you don't fit the definition of the,
No, and I'm not fucking paid to be here like everybody fucking says. What the fuck is that? I gotta work in the goddamn morning, just like everybody else. I'm just here trying to stand up for community, dude. We're all human beings here. I don't give a shit who you are, where you came from, what color you are. It doesn't fucking matter. This is wrong.
Let me make this clear. Federal agents, ICE, HSI, are officers. They are agents of law enforcement. If you box them in with vehicles, it is reasonable for them to believe that they are being ambushed and that this could end in a deadly situation. And it's reasonable for them to use force based on those conditions. Do not box in any law enforcement officer. You are breaking the law when you do that, and you are putting yourself in danger. When you plow into a vehicle that contains law enforcement agents, you're using deadly force, and they can use deadly force in response to stop you. We need to be clear about these laws. We cannot become a society where we just decide to take everything in our own hand and start to commit crime against law enforcement. It is a crime. You may not like what they're doing. I can understand that there's a lot of emotions out there, but that does not mean that you get to commit a crime, especially one that could lead to deadly force. We need to keep everyone safe. We cannot move like this in this city. If we want to keep the peace in this city, we need to be smart about how we do things. And attacking law enforcement under any circumstances is not safe for anyone. Because as I've said before, a member of law enforcement who cannot protect himself or herself cannot protect anyone else. And we have a responsibility to make sure that we protect ourselves and each other so that we can protect everyone else in this city.